Hi, I'm Gayla. After 20 years of climbing the corporate ladder, I took the leap and started my own business to pursue my dream of creating a work-from-anywhere lifestyle. Having the freedom to work from practically anywhere is such a cool feeling. You're in the right place if you're looking for ideas and inspiration to start and grow your own online business. Every week in this podcast, you'll receive practical ideas, hints, tips, and tricks to help you grow your online business where you can leverage your time and you can accomplish more. You too can experience wonderful adventure and freedom as you live life on your own terms. Hi there, and welcome to the show. Today, I thought I'd hop in here and just tell you what's on my mind. I threw out what I was going to say and started over more than once, might I add, because the message, basically what I wanted to say, it just wasn't flowing. And I was not feeling happy with it and not happy at all with the topic that I had jotted down weeks ago, that what I was going to talk about. So sometimes in a content plan, you shift and go with what is on your mind and what is in the here and the now. So here it goes. This is what's on my mind. I just came out of an epic all-day session with a client of mine. And it was a 2021 planning retreat for her business. And we were on the phone for hours. Now, I love this client. I really do. She's one of my first clients, and I have learned so much from her over the years. She's exposed me to a whole new world that I didn't even know existed through what started out with helping her format and publish just one Constant Contact e-newsletter a month and formatting a blog post. She sparked my interest in discovering the whole new world, at least it was a whole new world to me, of content marketing and copywriting. Now, that's not even the industry that she's in. She just needed help freeing her time up with formatting tasks so that she could focus her time on something else. Heck, she already had designed the template the way that she wanted and had been doing it for quite some time herself. It was a time for her to kind of venture out and do something that was big for her and delegate for the first time. It was a win-win for both of us. And it was a learning experience for both of us. Even how we met has always made me keenly aware that opportunities and wonderful relationships can result and begin in the most unlikely places. You see, she and I met in this dirty little dive bar in Indian Shores, Florida, where my husband Robert had played regular gigs for many years, and that regular gig ended up being several nights a week. And this dive bar was great. There was such a great mix of individuals from all walks of life. Well, she and her husband would come and watch Robert play. And I rarely would go see Robert play when we lived in Florida. At the time, I still had my day job and my daughter was still at home. Yeah, granted, she was in high school and she could be at home alone, but going to see Robert play music to the wee hours of the morning just made practical sense for me to just stay home so that I could function during the day and I could spend the last, few months with my daughter during her high school years before she moved out and did her own thing. It was after my day job ended and we were getting ready to leave Florida to start our new adventure when Robert introduced me to this individual. I remember this distinctly, that we were sitting at this dive bar, tucked away in a corner, sitting on some, ratty little couches, and I was talking to this person to kind of get an idea of what it was like to own an internet business. She's a consultant, and she was able to work from anywhere, and that really intrigued me. From the start, she made a great big impression on me. That first conversation was just simply me asking a few things about getting started and helping me figure out how to start freelancing as a virtual assistant. Later, and I don't remember how many days or weeks or even months passed before she took a chance on me and gave me that once a month e-newsletter task. Now, I don't think my business would have evolved the way it has without her. I truly believe that. Her influence and friendship have really shaped the way I think and has helped me to discover what I really like to do. I believe that one little email once a month sparked an interest that stretched myself to learn all about content marketing and copywriting. And I love the journey that it's taken me on. I owe a lot to her, and words can't express how much I appreciate her. So, back to this epic call that was a planning session for the upcoming year. I was available to her for whatever she needed. And through that process, this is what I discovered. Well, first of all, this was the first time that I was involved in her planning session. She is, by nature, a big planner and highly organized. And I knew she always would get a jump start on planning for the upcoming year because that's what she always does. The last few months of the year, that is her planning stage, and she does a lot of critical thinking and analyzing at the end of the year to get prepped for the upcoming year. And this time, she asked me to join her. Now, I like to plan, and I've done business plans before, but holy cow, this experience was an eye-opener for me. It was very detailed in the process. And going through this process with her has once again wanting me to step up my game. So these were the two takeaways that I learned in that planning call. The first, question everything. The second, don't do it alone. First, question everything. Yes, little things, question it. Big things, question it. And even the big question that may be the elephant in the room should be raised. The biggie question of, should I even keep going with this business? Sometimes that's a hard question to even admit to, because we just keep on going. It's like, should I just keep going? But raising questions on the big and small of things like, why do it? Is it working? Should I continue? If so, why? What can be improved? What should be kept? What should I scrap? Why? And like I said, the granddaddy of all questions, do I continue with this business? And during this process, during this questioning process, don't do it with emotion. There's no guilt. There's no regrets. Just questions. It's a time to look at the future and to not have any remorse, but to be totally and completely analytical. Just take out the emotions. Sometimes that's hard to take out the emotions, because if something's not working, it's like you tend to go over, it's like, what did I do wrong? And you dwell on that, and the emotions kind of pop up. Well, during this process, just push down those emotions. Be analytical, and just on the surface level, question everything. And after this meeting, that got the ball rolling for me to question everything with my business. Things like, should I continue with this podcast, for example? Should I build the YouTube channel? Should I had a lot of why questions. And many of my questions are tied to the lifestyle that Robert and I are creating and how we see ourselves traveling in the next few years. We're asking questions like, how should our work schedule be? What should it look like? What kind of tasks, or what should my role be in the company? What should I be doing versus what the team should be doing? Heck, really, what should the team's roles and responsibilities look like? How would the company structure look like? And what would it take to get there? Even questions like, what kind of vehicle? Because we had already made the decision last year, or even a couple of years ago, of getting rid of our RV. And that's our primary way that we live. But that is not the means of travel that we want to do. So we still have the RV, but we are asking critical questions because that part of our lifestyle is a big deal in our business. Like I said, I am questioning everything. And it's a very good exercise and better to get it down on paper. Right now, since that meeting is so fresh in my head, I've got random things in my head, and I'm about to get things jotted out of my head and onto paper or just document in Word document. But that second big takeaway that I had was that this planning process, shouldn't be done alone. Having someone with an outside perspective can help you come up with things that you should question, as well as drawing out points to help you discover your answers. The outside perspective will help you recognize things in yourself and your business that you may not see. Things like the strengths that you take for granted, weaknesses that are hard to admit to, opportunities that you may overlook, and threats in the market that you may think are threats, but they really may be opportunities. Having a sounding board to talk through the scenarios so you can write down your plan and get a direction is so much more productive than doing this whole process in a vacuum by yourself. Take it from me. That is what I've been doing in the past. I have the tendency to do this. I place myself in a vacuum and doing all the planning myself. And I retreat and put all the burden of everything on my shoulders. And much of my planning is in my head. And then when I'm done, I recognize that I have not been sharing my vision effectively. Well, not now. The year end is fast approaching, and now is the time to plan for next year. Time to question everything and invest the time and energy to have a retreat day and lay down that plan and document it and then share it. No emotion, no regrets. Just analyze and have control in shaping the future. Anyway, that's what I'm in the midst of doing, and that's what's on my mind. And I have to say, thanks, Jen. Thanks for being the inspiration for today's show and stretching my thinking and abilities in never giving up in creating a lifestyle that just 8 short years ago was just a figment of my imagination. My retreat date is coming up in a week or so. I thought I'd share what I'm doing. Even preparing for it is helping me gain clarity and direction and momentum and excitement. Maybe, just maybe, if you start now by pairing up with someone and setting aside a retreat date for yourself to question everything and plan the next year, maybe that would help you too. By the way, as for this podcast, I already know that I'm keeping it, but what you'll see more of in the future are interviews with folks who have started and are running their own work from anywhere business. I get so much inspiration and motivation in hearing stories from fellow online business owners and how they have and are creating the lifestyle of their dreams. I love to hear the nuts and bolts of how they're doing it and what they really excel in and how they're capitalizing that for themselves and creating that lifestyle. I would love to bring some of those stories to you. And so that is what I am committed to for future episodes. Now, I'm so happy that you took the time to listen today. And if you haven't done so already, I'd love it if you'd subscribed. I'd be honored, in fact. You'll want to make sure to catch next week's show as Genesis Eakes, leadership consultant, joins me. Whether you have a big or a small team, no employees or just a few, some independent contractors, or you're just by yourself, the journey of leadership never ends. And I have to tell you, I've been in a leadership role in some form or fashion for over 20 years. And every time I have a conversation with Genesis, I'm blown away and I learned something new. So be sure to tune in next week. If you're on Instagram, hey, let's connect. There's no secret that Instagram is the social platform I have the most fun with, so that's where I pop in on my spare time. Actually, come to think about it, that's the only social platform that's on my phone. So feel free to send me a PM with your thoughts about the episode. Now, until next time, have a fantastic week.